Hey guys, how are we doing? So welcome to this week's edition of The Dad Show. This week we are going to be talking about coping with stresses, and we're going to be talking about coming up against adversity and how we can overcome it to make sure we stick to our goals and our targets. Okay, so this week I wanted to talk about something that I reflected on my own personal journey, and I felt that maybe you could take something away with it, and maybe you can use this within your own practice, in your own lifestyle or regime that you are putting out there for yourself at the minute. Now, I am somebody that has always struggled with dealing with situations that tend to hit you right in the face and end up just blowing up your day and blowing up your week or your month. And these things happen and they suddenly just consume you, and you forget everything else going on in your life just to be able to deal with them and cope with them. All right, so let me give you some examples. So money usually is one of them. Suddenly might get hit with a bill or something that you weren't expecting, or something you have to pay out for that you weren't expecting for, like the van breaking down or the car breaking down, and then suddenly that causes a whole lot of stress, and suddenly you break down into an anxiety stress mode, and then you're trying to figure out where you're going to get that money from to then go and pay that bill or that problem that you just weren't aware of. And it can cause real stress for you. You know, it can suddenly stop your momentum with your training. It can stop your momentum with your life. You can then become very short and ratty with the people that are around you. And it's being able to cope with those things and still achieve and focus on your goals is where you'll win. So I would say a year ago that I was not in a very good place with this type of thing. So I would automatically panic. I would feel the adrenaline and cortisol going through my body. I would struggle to cope with like big impacts on my life. Sometimes they weren't even big ones, it's just anything, and it would affect my anxiety and then just kind of bring me down and kind of knock me off the rails with training, knock me off the rails with my relationships and my business mind. And it was a big learning curve for me last year, and I think the last 6 months, you know, I've really gripped it, and I've managed to get myself into amazing shape, an amazing frame of mind, and I've still been hit with those same problems. And you have to remember, in life, we're always going to be hit with problems. A life without problems, I don't think really necessarily exists, but the level of depth of the problem kind of raises up and down. You know, sometimes they are quite very serious problems that you have to deal with. Some are very minor, but it can just be lots of minor ones that just get you. So one thing that I have been religious about, and it's what's helped me be able to cope and improve my coping mechanisms, to make sure that I keep training, to make sure I keep focused on my goals, and it's the very small habits, it's the very small routines, and it's discipline. Now, and it doesn't come overnight. No, not everyone's going to get it straight away. I didn't get it straight away. When I used to listen to people talking about this, I used to be very closed book about it. I used to be like, this is not going to help me. This is definitely not going to help me. I'm not going to move forwards with any of this. I'm not really going to listen. And I kind of like was very negative about it all. And I then suddenly opened up and begun doing these small habits. The smallest of habits: getting up, making my doing my teeth, having breakfast, going to meditate, going to stretch, going to do my mobility, bam, religiously. Doesn't matter how I felt. If it felt like shit, I was going to do it. And I was going to do it religiously. I was going to go take my morning session. I then was going to take myself to the gym. I was then going to have my morning routine with the family. I then was going to drop them off, and bang, and you know, and over 6 months, over time, what I've noticed is that the more and more that you keep doing these habits, the more and more you get set into a structure and a routine, and it allows you to build your coping mechanisms without even realizing. And even when you feel like crap, you turn up at the gym. Even when you feel like shit, you turn up at work. You turn up as a husband. You turn up as a dad. And you put all of that shit aside, because in fact, none of it really fucking matters. None of it matters. Because when we're on our deathbed and we look back, are we going to look at these things and say to ourselves, this was a massive impact in my life, just completely turned my life. Now, some of those problems might do, but the majority of your problems, and I would say 98% of those problems that you face, a year later you won't even remember them. You won't even remember them. But what you would have done is knocked yourself off the pedestal of being on your fitness journey, or being on your work journey, or self-development within your business, or productivity, or your relationships that you're building around you. They can all be damaged just like that. Whereas those problems will come and go, and they will come and go. So what I want you to do is stay mentally strong, because it is a state of mind. And you know, very much I talk about this in my book. The state of mind, being able to cope, being able to deal with it and soak up all of the pressure of life, soak up those responsibilities, and you know, and not wear a mask, and get rid of that mask and be you, and be strong, and be a leader to your family, and be a leader to yourself and those that are around you, and lead by example, and keep with your goals, and have conviction to overcome adversity, and have the courage to still go through with your goals. And make a lifestyle that you want to make for yourself, because you can still achieve that. It doesn't matter what stands in your way. You have to become unbreakable. And that is slowly my mindset that I am kind of getting into. Is becoming that unbreakable mindset, that unbreakable state of mind that allows you to deal with all of these problems and live the life that you want. I hope this helps. I hope this is of some value. You know, I think it's good to share basically what we all go through, and this is very much what I do, and it's worked for me, and I really hope that it works for you.